beat, the cards are flying high. Shuffle up and deal, let the aces lie. Longest running show, yeah, we've seen it all. From the river to the rail, we answer the call.
Hello, A-Team, and welcome back to another episode of the Ante Up Poker Podcast, where every hand is an opportunity, every player is a friend, and every episode is a winning experience. I'm your host, Joe Scales, and this week, we're coming to you straight from the Gila River Lone Butte poker room. We're right in the middle of the action, actually. I'm trying to be a little bit quiet because there is literally poker happening all around me. Day 1C is happening on the tables in the back. There's cash game happening on the left. There's people buzzing, chips flying. The energy's been really incredible all week, especially today. The staff's been absolutely fantastic. They've seriously gone above and beyond all week. Our bags didn't even arrive until yesterday, but they've kept us in some branded gear so we could actually change clothes, clean up, and still look like we belong here. It's really, truly been next level hospitality. We've also met a ton of great players out here, but even more importantly, we've met some genuinely great people. That's what makes these stops so special, you know? In fact, one of those players will be joining Elle and I for Table Talk, so you'll definitely want to stick around for that. So I'm not going to take too much time here. That's all I really have. So let's get on with the show.
Welcome to the show, you're on the A-Team. Stack your chips and chase the dream. Joe's got the booth, his mic's on fire. Elle's got the laugh, she's taking it higher.
Elle and I are back around the poker table.
With our new friend Brownie.
Hey, how about that?
Hey, Brownie.
Brownie's, I think, a legend here in the valley.
In my own mind. My own mind, yeah.
You come highly recommended by Gila River Lone Butte Poker Room, and we are more than thrilled to have you with us
Well, thank
today. I know no one else can see this, but you got a hell of a business card.
Oh, thank you.
Where did that idea come from?
That card, I came up with the idea because I won this tournament at the Wind. And we were at 3 o'clock in the morning, and I was chip leader, and 6 guys wanted to chop. And I said, I'll do an ICM chop. And that's all I'll do. And they said,
Yeah.
okay.
Typical.
Well, one guy from Minnesota said, I'm not doing it. And I said, you're third in chips. What are you talking about? He goes, they teased me last year so bad because I went home and I didn't win a trophy. I said, I'll tell you what, I'll give you the trophy. You chop, I'll give you the trophy.
Right.
He said, okay. So we chopped. That's your trophy. We're standing in line at the pay line, and I texted a friend of mine, and I said, call my phone and hang up after the 3rd ring.
Yeah.
So he did. My grandson, I taught how to play poker. He loves to play poker.
Yeah.
So I picked up the phone. I said, hey, Hudson, how are you? I won. Yeah. I got a trophy. Yeah. Oh, you want the trophy? You can have the trophy. Good. Okay. I turned to the guy and I said, sorry, my grandson wants you. Want the trophy? I thought the guy was going to heart attack.
Good old Hudson.
I'm only teasing. You can have the damn trophy. I don't care. I got more trophies home. So that's how the card
But
came.
your photo has the trophy in it.
It does.
Which makes me happy. I was most impressed when I met you. I said to Joe immediately, I like this guy already. So, so tell us a little bit more about Gila River.
Gila River, since it's been over here at Lone Butte, the poker room, Tia has changed poker in the valley. And what I mean by that is when she came over here, she made a bunch of changes. One is tournament players very seldom would get comps playing in a tournament.
Yeah, that's typical, right?
So it's usually the cash game guys.
Right.
Yeah.
She started giving the tournament players $1 an hour to comps in tournament play.
Nice.
Then other casinos started doing that.
Yeah.
Well, now she's raised it to $1.50 an hour,
I'd be coming back here too.
which
Yeah.
adds up after a while.
Well, it does. And I met a guy the other night who said, oh, yeah, I get enough in comps here. I take my wife down to the Prime Steakhouse once a month.
Yeah.
And we ate there. It's phenomenal.
Yeah.
And I thought, whoa,
Yeah.
what's happening
Yeah.
here? So,
And if you don't want to use the comps, you can take it over and we'll write you a check for it. So if you got $500 in comps, you can get the cash and go back and play in a tournament.
Really?
Yeah.
That's
I've
even
never
better.
heard that
That's
before.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, you can do that. So it's just she's done stuff like that. That's just changed
The room.
the room and the whole valley.
Right.
Because now everybody's falling into place with that. So
But-
it's a great deal.
It seems like to me she's been a pioneer for the
She
game
is.
here. Woman after my own heart. She's very soft-spoken, but means what she says.
And she runs
I
a good room.
admire. She does run a good room, and that's one thing Joe and I have said immediately. And we even spoke last night. We've been here 72 hours,
Right.
and the feel here is people enjoy seeing each other.
Mhm.
The competition is stiff, but it's fair,
Mhm.
and there's not a lot of frenetic running around.
No.
Everybody is relaxed.
Well, on the competition side, last night at my table,
Yeah, let's hear it.
I had the 2-time Arizona State champion, Ryan Steiner. I had Stephen Jones, who came second in the WSOP
Yep.
main event
Right. I was going to say
3 years
that's a
ago.
force to be reckoned with, your table.
And 3 other guys. We had Dustin, your ambassador, was at the
Yes.
table.
Yes.
Jordan Griff was playing. and
Jordan
Bill-
Griff was playing here. So we get some good players here today. So.
I'd
Yeah.
say so.
And, and the dealers here are great.
Yeah.
The staff is great,
There's a lot
Yeah.
of when I see dealers right now, I can look across the room sitting at tables and talking to each other
Mhm.
or having meals together
Mhm.
or high-fiving. They have a good time.
Mhm.
And that makes a world of a difference
Yeah.
for players.
Yeah.
I scout my dealers.
Yeah.
I know people think that's ridiculous, but when I go play cash, I'm like, I ask nicely, could I get that table just
Yeah.
to start? Right?
And the dealers here are all friendly.
They really are.
Yeah.
And you can joke with them.
Yeah.
There's a couple of them in here that I tease a lot.
Well, why not?
And, and they just go right along.
Right.
Yeah.
And the
gotta
guys
have
at the table, if you don't want to be teased, don't play in this room.
Yeah.
'Cause you're going to
That's
get
part
it
of the
from
game, though.
all angles.
Yeah.
You're going to get it.
That's fair.
But it's
Well-
a fun room.
well-
You're going to have some fun and play poker. This is it.
I agree, and honestly, I mean, I think probably for gaming purposes, we've got kind of a wall behind us. But if you look out across the room, we've got 36 tables.
Mhm.
These chairs are so comfortable.
Mhm.
I've been sitting in them for many hours already myself, and I haven't even had a chance to play.
Yeah.
What else can you expect from Gila River when you come?
Just you're going to have a good time.
Yeah.
You are going to have a good time here. There's no doubt about it. And like I said, Tia is the director of poker. She runs the post. She
Right.
runs the room.
Right.
And everybody gets along with it. All the employees like her. And that's half the battle. If your employees like you, they're going to do.
That's one
what you
thing.
tell them.
Yeah, that's one thing that we can always tell your poker room manager, director, whatever.
Mhm.
You can always tell if you have a good one because the staff under them is a direct reflection of them, and
Right.
and the staff here has been phenomenal.
Yeah.
Well, it's true. You can tell when things come from the top down.
And you
Yeah.
don't
So-
get a lot of turnover here.
Right.
I mean, these dealers have been here almost from day one. So, and they're treated nice, and the guys tip.
Yeah,
Right.
So that's nice.
yeah, and
You know?
even the wait staff that comes in is great.
Yeah.
They take care of everybody in this room.
Mhm.
So
Let's talk tournament.
Okay.
Yesterday, you said a little bit about the day one competition.
Congratulations, by the way, for making
congratulations,
it
you
here.
bagged.
I bagged, yeah. And thank you two for coming along and coaching me a little bit. You going,
Yeah, you're welcome.
I appreciate
Everybody needs
that.
a little pat on the back
I
throughout
know,
that
you-
long
you-
day.
You did well.
Well,
You did
thank
well.
you. I appreciate it. So we talked a little bit about tournaments. Maybe let's switch to cash. You play cash often here?
I don't play cash hardly at all.
Say more.
I'm just a tournament.
Okay.
I play tournaments. I
Okay.
like tournaments. Some reason I will play cash. I played the other day here. I got knocked out, but I made enough to buy another ticket. So
there you go.
what the heck?
You're not the only one. I saw a couple of people who left the tournament, sat down and played hours of cash and said,
Yeah.
I'll be back tomorrow.
Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
said, lovely. I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah.
Really, really happy to see that happening.
Yeah.
One of the things that we talked about was the acoustics in here.
Yes.
Oh yeah, and the music.
The
Yes, the
music's good,
music.
Great.
But-
It is.
but you walk into some rooms, and maybe it's because they're smaller, but
Mhm.
But- all you can hear is chips clicking, you know.
Yeah.
And you walk in here, and you don't just hear the chips click.
Mhm.
You've got the music, you've got people laughing and talking and whatnot. It's not overwhelming when you walk in.
And the music, like last night, we
It's
were
fantastic.
down to 2 tables,
Mhm.
and that music they were playing.
Mhm.
I mean, one guy got up and started doing a little dance, and guys were sitting there tapping like this. You know,
Yeah.
and it lightens the whole thing up.
It really does.
It makes it. You're there to play poker, or serious poker, but it gets you going, gets your juices going.
I was gonna say it keeps the momentum moving.
Yeah, it does.
And gives you a little pep in your step.
Yeah.
I quite honestly, I was actually going to share like a review on some new earplugs I bought, and I brought them with me. I haven't needed them. There's no casino sound here. I don't hear the machines.
We're off a little bit.
We are off in our own little world over here, and I kind of like it here.
Yeah.
You're shielded, and I think that's another thing they offer to their players is this is your space, and you're not being invaded by all of that slot machine noise, people running by, yelling, whatever, the music that they have on a Friday night. This is your space. You're protected. I agree.
Since they moved it up to the shop area, you don't get any of the slots going and all that stuff. It's quiet.
And Tommy got a hard time with that. Said, I don't know if you're really going to be able to pull people
he's done
up.
a great job.
He has done a phenomenal job. We'll actually be back there between Christmas and New Year's if you'd like to join us.
I probably will, because Tommy's a good friend of mine, and I will probably be over there.
Fantastic.
Love it.
Well, we would love to have you.
You let me know the dates.
Okay. All right. Well,
All right.
well.
Yeah.
What about Arizona poker in general? What would you say?
It's just Arizona poker is probably, I'm going to be a little prejudiced here, is probably the best for any state around, because we have some great players.
Yeah.
And as results of 2 Arizona state championships,
Yes.
Stephen Jones,
right?
And Greg, the other guy that plays, they're all good, and we get some good players. And it's just competition. You need that.
Well, this state championship, I don't know how many people we've invited on our cruise, and it's happening in the middle of the state championship, and that is like a non-negotiable. We are not missing the state championship. So it is very serious here.
They'll get 3,000 players easy for that.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
People don't miss that. As
That's
a matter of fact,
I can tell.
they just had a MSPT tournament over there, and all of those guys are coming back. So that the Arizona State Championship this year is going to be huge.
Yeah.
It's going to be huge.
I hate that we're missing it.
Unfortunately, it's not here, but it's going to be big. But that's Arizona poker.
Right. Yeah. That's what I was going to say.
That's Arizona poker.
What you can expect.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
How long have you lived in Arizona? Because I lived in a desert for 3 years, and this is a true desert. I lived in Dubai for 3 years, which is completely different. I kind of thought I knew what to expect when we landed, and I can't stop staring.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
It is. Yeah. I've been here 26 years.
What brought you?
Well, I was in the cemetery and mortuary business for 32 years.
Wow.
And we built a home in Scottsdale.
Okay.
When I was a program chairman for a convention out there. And I told my wife, go find us the place supposed to build a house out there. So she did. She took me seriously. I thought I was joking, but she wanted to do it. So we did it. And then when I retired at 56, I said, we're moving out to Arizona. She goes, okay. So we just moved out here. And the rest is history.
And you've been happy ever since.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's been great.
Well, I will say,
you got to get used to the heat in the summertime.
Yeah, but
you got 3.5 months. Big deal.
It's a trade-off.
Now here, the weather's kind of warm right now.
It's unseasonably
like
warm.
20 degrees higher than normal.
Yeah, breaking records.
It is. Yeah, every day we're breaking it.
Yeah, people have been blaming me for that. I don't know why.
That's a good idea.
I know. Yes, exactly.
I think I'll blog that tomorrow.
Okay.
This is why the temperature's so bad.
I bring the heat.
It's Ellie's fault.
Yeah, exactly.
I never thought about that.
Yeah, we weren't anticipating 103, 107. I was listening to the news coming in this morning or yesterday morning, and they said, we've already broken the record, so let's see if we can keep it going.
Yeah.
And I was like,
look, can we not?
Yeah.
Can we not see if we
cool it down for a while. But then you come in here, you don't worry about it.
True.
That's fair, yeah.
Rooms. And I think that's why poker rooms are full.
Right.
Because
gotta have somewhere to go.
That's true. Yeah.
Well, let's talk recent headlines. This is something we always like to talk around the table because that's really going to happen in real life.
Yeah.
We've got several things happening. The
Resorts World.
Resorts World. We are really sad to hear they're closing their poker room on March 30th. So if you're in the area, please go show them some love before they close their doors. And this lodge
And then we got the
saga
lodge.
is
Yeah.
continuing. So what are you hearing around?
I think on that deal there, I think if you look at it and read about it, the governor doesn't like poker. And he wrote a bill when he wasn't the governor
Right.
that wanted to put a stop to it.
Right.
And now they're claiming money laundering and all that stuff. I think they just want to get rid of all the poker in Texas, which is unfortunate.
It's a volatile market right now, for sure. And I think more will unfold over time. And this is one of those stories that everybody's so anxious about.
Yeah.
Joe and I have been talking about some headlines where he's like, why is it that everybody pays attention to these stories? I go, because we don't know the information. Everybody's trying to fill in the info. And I think if we're just patient, we may come to find out what's truly behind it. So
that money laundering, I don't know about that. That's
right.
kind of, I think that's an excuse they're using.
I think you're right.
Because you can have a business in one state and bank another business in another state.
Absolutely.
That's not a big deal. And I don't think Doug Polk's going to put his reputation up for money laundering just because he moved money to another state.
Yeah.
And Brad Owen, he's not going to do it.
Yeah.
So it's crazy, I think. So, but like you said, we don't know all the facts.
True.
So there might be something under the rug here that we don't know about.
Right.
Yeah.
That the feds are going to turn over that rug and say, hey, what's this all about? But we don't know yet.
Yeah.
So,
we'll see. What we've talked about on the podcast numerous times is don't everybody try to fill in those blanks yet. Just let this unfold for what it is. And we'll find the answers eventually.
Yeah.
So,
just maybe not as fast as
I feel sorry for all the employees. Right?
Yeah.
He's got like 200 or 300 employees.
He does.
That now they don't have a job.
Right. And I think that's one thing, at least Doug has come out publicly and said that's one of the difficult things. And he also wants to ensure that everybody knows that their money's safe.
Yeah.
And he will see to it that that's returned. So there's a lot of pressure there.
Yep.
And you're absolutely right. Especially in this economy. I mean, gas is what? Close to $5 a gallon out here right now.
Yeah.
It's a tough spot that they've been put in for sure. For sure.
So, but like you said, let it play out, see where the chips fall, and go from there.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So,
Before we leave today or sign off today to go back and hit the tournament, if anybody listening has an in with United Airways,
oh my God,
I need a contact. I need a contact to say thank you to at least 5 people personally. I need to know how we recognize United Airways employees, because let me just tell you, Joe and I got to the airport 7:30 in the morning. Your flight has been rescheduled. So we had Virginia, Illinois, Arizona. Easy peasy, right? No. Then they wanted to send us Southwest Virginia to DC to Newark, spend the night in Newark airport, fly to Arizona. And I said, are you kidding me?
We were like, can we not?
Could we figure out something else? This gate agent says, what's your phone number? I said, okay, here's our phone number. How about I go to breakfast and I come back and we just see how these flights shuffle around? She said, it's a great idea. Middle of breakfast.
Before we even finished breakfast,
we get a personal phone call. I've got you rebooked exactly the same route that you went before. You're going to have to spend the night. I said, well, St. Patrick's Day in Chicago is not going to be that bad.
I think we could do that.
I think we can do that.
We can do that.
So we get on the flight, and I told them from Virginia, I said, if we get to Chicago and get on a standby, we're going. So let's make this happen. Get off the plane.
We book it though.
What?
We had to book it across that airport to find.
Because they do this texting thing now instead of face to face. They don't want these long lines, which is phenomenal.
Yeah.
Okay, I get on a text. I forgot her name. Tasha, I think, says go to gate C19. I get to C19. Gate agent there goes, let's get you. Oh, you're already on the standby list. Stay right there. They get us on the flight.
Holy man.
We get here the same day we're supposed to get here. And I'm just
a little later.
A little later than we anticipated, but not a big deal. And I mean, every single person, personable, not upset, not yelling, not exasperated, just let's see what happens. And I was really, I'm not kidding, because I fly a lot. We fly a lot, and I've flown a ton. It restored my faith in the industry right now, because there's so many things that you don't look forward to flying. I mean, our luggage delivery, we could talk about that later, but even the guy, when I'm trying to look for 3 bags that are all over the US, he's like, we're going to figure this out.
He worked on it right up until he left, and then comes in the next morning and started working on finding our bags again the next morning. Like it was his personal vendetta. He was gonna find these bags.
Yeah,
And your bags got here though?
they did.
Finally,
and here I am saying, hey, can you help me with this case file, whatever? Yeah. And then Joe goes in the next day and he walks in and he goes, Joe Scales? I'm not even kidding. I'm not even kidding. He goes, I just got here. I'm already working on your bag. That is showing me that they love what they're doing. And I want to be able to recognize these people. So no joke, if you have any connection to United Airways, reach out to me, ELLE at anteupmagazine.com. I need to get these people recognized. I need to make sure that they know we saw them and we appreciated what they did.
Right. Yep. And then we also have to give a shout out to Mr. Pickleman,
who came here. One of our listeners is on family vacation, spring break vacation, and he just left his family and came and hung out with us last night. Mr. Pickleman, he goes by. Mr. Pickleman, he goes by. Really great to meet you in person. Thank you. Oh, I didn't ask.
Oh, you okay? I just want to find out. I didn't know. I was just checking. You know, I thought you'd ask that, Ellie. Jeez,
well, I know
that's an important question.
Yeah, it sounded personal.
Well, yeah, but you could ask it.
It's true.
You know what the heck? Come on, jeez. Good Lord.
It's true.
Well, he came. He hung out. It really made our day, made our night. We were just out there. I don't know how long he was here, but we sat there and chatted for a long time, and it was really nice.
It's good. That's Arizona.
It is.
Yeah,
that's Arizona.
Yeah,
that's all we've experienced so far.
That's Arizona.
Well, thank you, Brownie, for joining us.
You're welcome.
We really appreciate it. What an ambassador you are for the game. Keep up the good work.
I'm trying.
We appreciate what you're doing for everybody here. And I've heard that from other people too, that they appreciate you. So
I put a lot of money to say that.
You know.
And Tia said I had to say something nice about her. So that's why I said what I said.
Oh, okay.
I really didn't mean it, but that's okay. Yeah. She'll understand. That's okay.
I don't believe you for one iota of a second at all.
You have one more job ahead of you, which is to win this thing.
Yeah.
I'm going to get my best shot. And they're going to live stream the final table.
I'm really glad you mentioned that.
They've got new equipment coming in. They've got everything. Jack was telling me yesterday they're going to do a big production.
They are. I think they've got a camera above the table, and then they have multiple camera men.
They've got them coming in to do all that.
Yeah.
Speaking of Jack, we have not given enough of a shout out to Shauna and Jack.
Yes,
both
in the marketing team here.
Yeah, they have taken care of us
phenomenally. They've made us feel like VIPs around here.
Yeah, exactly. So shout out to them as well. Thank you, Brownie, for joining us.
Anytime. And let me know where that stop is, what time you're going to meet you.
Absolutely.
I'll book it in and see you guys there.
We would love it.
Sounds great.
Right, we can do it.
As always, gentlemen, it's a pleasure being around the table with you.
Likewise.
Elliott's wisdom cuts like a blade, dropping truth bombs with a poker parade. Big blinds, big stakes, raise it up, let's make no mistake.
Elliott Schechter joins us each week to say how he would rule on situations that come up in your games, and he's with us again this week. Elliott, how's it going?
Things are going pretty nicely, thanks. How you doing today?
Good. We are actually recording this a little bit early because by the time everybody listens to this, we will be soaking up the sun in Arizona.
Oh, very nice. That's right. The Ante Up Poker Tour goes to Gila River. Should be beautiful.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. And looking forward to that. I know it's going to be a lot of fun. Like I said, by the time everybody hears this, then cards will already be in the air. And we'll be having a blast. So
nice.
We wanted to get this recorded and make sure that we had plenty of time to, as they say, the show must go on. So we have this call to floor that's sent in by Marcus Lee. And Marcus is in a 1-3 cash game, 8-handed on a Saturday night. He says, the game has been going for a few hours and the table is beyond loose. Earlier in the evening, about half the table was out together for drinks. Oh, and now they're back playing cards.
Very
Yeah, I
nice.
can. That's going to make for some loose poker for sure.
I would hope.
He says, now they're now they're a few drinks past good poker play. Stacks are healthy, and pots have been getting big. Action folds to me in the cutoff. I raise to $15. The action folds to the big blind, who has about $260 in front of him. He smiles, reaches down, grabs a stack of red $5 chips. His stacks are a mess, and without counting the chips, he starts to slide the stack forward. But when the chips get close to the middle, the stack tips over. Chips spill and roll everywhere, including into the pot, while the rest lay in a pile in front of him. He says it's clearly a raise. There's no question about that. But now the dealer can't sort out the mess of chips and asks the player, somewhat exhausted at the drunkenness that has been going on for a while now, how much the raise is. The big blind says, I don't know. I just grabbed a stack. One of his buddies says, that's like $60. Another laughs and says, it's closer to 80. The big blind reiterates, honestly, I didn't count them. Now, I speak up to call the floor because if nobody knows how much the bet is, how am I supposed to act? The floor and the dealer went through the action to that point to recreate the pot and got a number of $80 for me to call. The problem is that there were other chips that had rolled away and ended up in one of the other players' stacks. I don't believe those ever made it to the pot. They were just returned to the player or placed in that player's stack. And he says, to be fair to them, they were drunk, not dishonest. So I don't think they were being malicious, just not thinking clearly. He said, and anyway, in order to make up for the difference in chips, I won the pot, but how should the floor have sorted this out? Because I don't think this was the best way.
Then I'm quite curious to find out what you consider the best way.
Right.
The best way starts at the beginning. In no limit games, especially. It's a tournament rule, and it's generally a cash rule. Chips need to be stacked neatly and in stacks of 20 or close to it. Obviously, if somebody has less than 20 chips, then they can't stack in 20. But everybody else needs to stack them in a reasonable size, which is 20 high, what fits in a rack. So if nobody's enforcing that, which again starts with the dealer, then yeah, you're going to end up with situations like this where people are putting unknown amounts of chips into a pot, and now you have to figure out exactly how much it was. So we
Right.
got to start there. We're going to not have a chicken and egg debate. This is the beginning. Chips must be stacked neatly while playing no limit or pot limit games. Otherwise, opponents don't have a clear idea of what their opponents have in front of them and how to properly make bets. So again, yes, this starts there. Well, let's move on to actuality. Their chips weren't stacked neatly. They tried to move them forward. They spilled. They weren't, from the narrative, the amount moving forward was determined to be $80. That wasn't, it doesn't appear to be the amount that actually moved into the betting area or fell off the stack. Apparently, that's what the stack was worth, $80. At some point, you just got to take it as the number and move on. And apparently, that's what was done here, which is fine. I've heard of many worse outcomes. This is not a bad outcome. It's a reasonable
Sure.
amount. It obviously wasn't 20 high. It seems like a good even number and a reasonable number. I don't see much to protest here other than the fact that the players' chips were not really kept neatly enough for playing this particular game.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you as far as what you said at the beginning, which is I don't know what other outcome you could have come up with, you're not going to go to the cameras and slow it down that far.
Not for
You're
15 or
able to,
$20.
yeah, you are able to, for the most part, figure it out just by saying, okay, well, this person bet, this person raised, this person, whatever, and recount the action and say, this is how much was in the pot before he moved the stack forward. So
Right.
this is what's left.
I mean, it doesn't specifically say in the narrative, but it appears to be pre-flop action.
Yeah.
So chips spilling into the pot, again, not hard to separate. It can't be that difficult to figure out how much was actually in the pot or pot area prior to the chip spilling out. So again, I don't see much of a challenge here. It's not like we're on the turn in a pot limit Omaha game and three people have folded on the flop. Now you got to think back and remember how much was in the pot at what point. But this is pre-flop in a 1-3 no limit game. There can't be a whole lot in this pot to figure out
Right.
and separate from this guy's chips. So
I
I'm
mean,
not a big fan of turning molehills into mountains.
yeah,
And this seemed to be a pretty quick, speedy, and reasonable decision made on the part of the operator in house here.
right. It sounds like to me, Marcus's bigger concern was the chips that had rolled away either to one other person's or various other people's stacks. And honestly, that's just, it is what it is. Like you can't,
Uh,
it couldn't have been that much that
well,
rolled off. It $10,
right.
$20, whatever. Um,
And
which
again,
over time adds up, but as you said, you have to take it for what it is at that point.
yeah,
Um, and if you don't want to, you do exactly what Marcus did, which is raise, and then you can get the rest of the chips if you want.
right.
Um, but this makes me, and I don't want to get too far from Marcus's point here, but this is a new thing. Well, it's been new for a few months now, and I'm happy to see that it's slowed down. But I've been playing with people that instead of stacking their chips, right, they lay them down in a line and have been playing from them like this. To your point about the rule of stacking your chips, how is this even a thing? How is that
It shouldn't
possible?
be.
How is that? It shouldn't be. Is that what you said?
And it especially not in no limit or pot limit games. In limit games, it's somewhat immaterial simply because you can only bet so much. And if you've got chips to play, you're playing. If you don't have chips to play, you're not playing. You're not trying to change the size and vary your bets. So yeah, even then it shouldn't be a thing. But in no limit and pot limit, this is not a thing. And if you're out there, one of these players doing this, please stop. And equally as important, if you're an operator letting this happen, please stop. You're not doing
Right.
anybody any favors. You're not doing your players any favors. You're not doing your dealers any favors. You're not doing the game in general any favors. All you're doing is indulging people who want to not follow the rules. So, yeah, that's got to stop.
Yeah. It's just that when you said that, it popped in my head because it's so annoying when I sit at the table with somebody who has them just laid out there. And I think it comes from old old poker tables, the old round ones. They have a
Right.
tray that lays out and people would put their chips in there instead of on the table.
Hmm.
And so I think it comes from that. I don't know that for sure. Just me trying to find some excuse for them doing such an asinine thing.
Right.
But yeah, I hate it and I've seen it numerous times within the last I say 6 months or so. That was a complete sidebar to Marcus here. But
A very nice
Marcus,
digression.
yeah, Marcus, it sounds like the floor did the best they could. I mean, I
Hmm.
guess the only other point to make here is at what point do you walk that fine line or go on either side of this line of they're too drunk to play? If they're not able to, And there's a difference between not able to and just not doing it. Put their stacks in proper chip counts, or at what point do you as a floor do you say, we appreciate you, but we're gonna have to ask you to leave because you're just too drunk?
Well, yeah, if a game's just not moving, if it's ground to a halt, if people aren't having fun, if they're getting way too boisterous and disturbing other tables, again, they can easily cross lines. And when they cross lines, something's got to be done. I mean, you can't just passively take it and expect your players to put up with this. So again, yeah, players are too drunk for the game and for the room. That's not good. And plus, in a lot of places, casinos can get in pretty serious trouble for allowing obviously drunk players to continue to play. So your players are not the only consideration. Your business and its viability are also yet another consideration.
Yeah,
So
that's a fair point. And for the record, I'm not saying these guys are that drunk. It's fine to have a good time and whatnot.
absolutely.
And it sounds like that's what was going on at this table. A bunch of people
Mhm.
really having a good time, and
Yes.
it it's that classic story of the one sober person amongst all the drunk people, and you're like, it's not nearly as fun for me.
Hmm. Yeah.
But this was not. It certainly sounds like it could have been a profitable night for Marcus.
Easily.
With all that going on, so you don't want to push them away for that reason either.
Right.
So it is a fine line, but it sounds like everybody did the best they could with the situation. So
Indeed.
yeah, kudos to the floor. And Marcus, thank you for sending that in. If anyone has a call
Absolutely.
to floor that they would like to know how Elliott would rule, send it to podcast@anteupmagazine.com. Elliott, we'll see you when we get back from Arizona.
Absolutely. Have a great time. Hope it turns out really well. Looking forward.
Patrick's a fish, but he's learning fast. He's all in this hand, might be his last.
Welcome to Hand of the Week, where Patrick, our resident fish, and I dive into listener-submitted hands. Each week, we tackle everything from questionable bluffs to hero calls and the hands that make you scratch your head. Whether you're looking for strategy tips or you just want to see if you would have played it any better, we've got you covered. Patrick, how's it going?
I'm pretty good. Just living the wild ride that has been the last 24 hours.
Yeah. So, I guess kind of a peek behind the curtain. We are recording this early because currently, when everybody is listening to this, we will already be in Arizona. Cards will be in the air. But I recorded yesterday, or Call the Floor with Elliott, and it was 83 degrees.
Shorts, springtime's in the air, dogwood trees are starting to blossom. Yeah. And today?
It was kind of a precursor, getting us ready for, the warm weather in Arizona.
And today?
Then here we are today, recording Hand of the Week a little early, and there's snow on the ground.
Snow and sleet. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, wild ride to say the least. I was sitting there last night looking at the weather and playing out my little guy's outfits ahead of time, and I tell him he's got to wear pants. Well, he's gotten away from the pants because it's 80 degrees and he wants to wear shorts like every little boy does. Throws a hissy fit. I tell him it's going to snow. Well, then his mindset shifts to, so is it going to be enough to play it? I'm like, no, let's not go down some crazy rabbit hole. Yeah, I mean, this is wild. I mean, absolutely wild. You need to get yourself out to Arizona. It's gonna be warm. Yeah, dry. So
Yeah. Yeah. So currently when I'm recording this, it's cold as hell. When everybody is listening to it, I'll be enjoying warm weather. So
boom.
how's that for confusion? Like, there's some kind of Twilight Zone thing right there. If you really think about it, that could put your mind in a pretzel.
Let's take everyone's mind out of a pretzel and play some cards.
Yeah. We've got a hand of the week sent in by Brian Leonard. And Brian says, "Hey guys, I was playing 1-3 no limit at my local casino. It's a pretty typical game, mix of regulars and a few players who clearly came to gamble for the night. Effective stacks in this hand are about $500.
Okay.
I'm on the button and look down at the ace of diamonds, queen of diamonds. 2 players limp. A middle position player raises to 15, and we have our first decision on the button."
I say this a lot, but you're not going to like this. I'm going big.
How big?
Hopefully not big enough. Hopefully not too big. All right. So what did we say? You said 2 limpers, then middle position, raise it to 15, right?
Yep.
So 40.
Is that big?
No, I changed my mind. I had 60 in my head. Look, for anyone that's watching this, Joe's face, there was a massive eye roll when I said I was going big. No, I had 60
I'm
in
like
my head,
thinking
and I changed it.
$80. I
All
think
right,
you're
I
going
had
big.
60. I
But
had 60.
all right. So my thought, my number was 50, between 50 and 60. So I was probably leaning more toward 50,
Okay.
but I can see 60.
Okay.
40 is not enough, just for the record.
For everyone listening, trust your gut. Don't let Joe talk you out of it. Even though he didn't say anything, he didn't say a word. Okay, 60 it is.
Brian decides to 3-bet as well. He makes it $50.
Okay.
Both limpers fold, but the original raiser calls. So
Beautiful.
we got it to heads up.
Success.
That was
That's
the goal,
exactly
right?
what we wanted to do.
Yep. We're heads up to the flop, and there's $110 in the pot. The flop comes queen of spades, 10 of clubs, 8 of diamonds.
Don't love
I
that.
feel like we've played this hand a lot on Hand of the Week. Just very similar situations, ton of straight draws out there. I think Jack 9 already got there. That's definitely in their range.
It is. It is
But
in their
we have
range.
top pair, top kicker.
And it probably is, we get a lot of these for a reason because it does come up a lot, and it's one that we, you got to work through. And I would, I'd venture to say every situation is different because, like Harvey Specter from Suits, you got to play the man a little bit, but you also got to play the percentages. So,
Yeah.
everything is different.
The pre-flop raiser did check to us. I don't know if I said that out loud, but
You did not. But I felt the force with you, Obi-Wan, so I knew that you did that.
What do you think?
I don't think anything good. No, look, top pair, top kicker. Could go runner, diamonds, which is great, but we're not hoping on that. Yeah, I mean, Jack 9's in their realm. King Jack is in their realm. There's a lot of things out there that are pressing. I'm not stopping though. If they haven't gotten there and they're chasing, I'm going to make them pay to chase.
Right.
I'm going exactly
Same
half.
thought. What do you think?
I'm going 55.
Okay. We're in the same area. I was thinking 60. So definitely putting the C bet out there though. I wanted to go a little bit over half pot. Brian says this feels like a great flop for this hand. Top pair with a strong kicker. So he bets the same $50 that he bet on the flop.
Okay.
Middle position player check raises to 150. Brian says, this is where things started to feel uncomfortable. The opponent is a player he's seen bluff before, but also someone who doesn't usually go crazy without a hand.
I mean, if he's not there already, I feel like that's a big bet on a draw. and only one draw. Because I mean, it can't be a flush and a straight draw. So I mean, is he sitting on ace king of spades? So I'm calling.
You're gonna think I've lost my mind. I
You're
think I
coming
just
back over
fold.
top.
No, I just fold. I'm just gonna top pair, top kicker. It's just one pair. We can't raise because stacks aren't big enough.
Nope.
We would just be committing all our chips if we do that. So if we call, what do we feel comfortable with coming on the turn? An ace or a queen? Is that it?
Diamond.
Okay, then we open up a draw, but we're still in bad shape. A king would give us some Broadway outs, but still not there either. Yet there's a lot of cards that I feel like can improve them.
I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but the only thing that's beating us right now is if they had Jack 9, 10s or 8s. I don't think 8s are in the realm. 10s probably. Jack 9 definitely. That's in the realm.
Okay, but you're going to face another big bet on the turn. Guaranteed. So if we don't see an ace, a queen, or a diamond, then
we just wasted chips.
Yeah.
Fair. You're
and
not
even if a
wrong. I'm not
diamond
saying I
comes-
like it, but you're not wrong.
And if the diamond comes, I still don't feel great about it. So just fold, save the chips, and fight them later. But Brian's in your camp. He wants to call. That means the pot's $410. And the turn is the 2 of clubs. So the board is queen of spades, 10 of clubs, 8 of diamonds, 2 of clubs. Middle position doesn't hesitate. He moves
shoves.
all in for about 290 more.
That is exactly
Brian
what I wanted.
says.
That's exactly what I wanted him to do. Tell me what Brian said first.
Brian says, at the table, I thought maybe he could be doing this with queen jack, king queen, a combo draw, or even something like jack 9. But the straight with jack 10 also seemed very possible. If I call and I'm wrong, I'm basically rebuying. So that's the question for you guys. Are you calling or folding here?
Well, Joe's already out of the hand, so if he happened to get to here, he's definitely folding.
Well,
Are
here's
you gonna?
no, I just want to make a caveat there. You're right, but also as a caveat, if we made it to here, if we were able to make the call on the flop,
Let's hear it. Keep it going.
why can't we call on the turn? Because what changed?
Absolutely nothing. He's still chasing a straight draw, and he's overcompensating. And I have top pair, top kicker. I'm calling.
Yeah, the 2 of clubs changes nothing. So, if I were to make it to the turn, I'm calling here. I didn't though.
No, you did not. For the
also,
record, you were done.
Yeah. Also, the fact that it was a quick bet means that their mind was made up before that card hit the felt. No matter what that card was, I feel like he was betting.
Yeah,
that's usually a sign of a draw.
Correct.
So,
because they're either going to continue to chase or they made it one way or the other. They're throwing their chips in.
Right. So they knew what they were doing before that card hit. Brian says he went back and forth for quite a while trying to figure out what hands his opponent could realistically have. The check raise on the flop, followed by the quick shove on the turn, felt extremely strong. But he also knew this opponent was capable of getting aggressive with draws. So, after a long tank, Brian folded.
Ouch. Brian.
as he pushed his cards into the muck, the opponent shrugged and said, "You probably had the best hand." And he turns over king of clubs, jack of clubs. So when the turn came, though, the two of clubs gave him the flush draw as well.
and a straight draw. Yep.
Yeah. And so that's where he decided to fire all in. But Brian, I mean, actually was ahead when the chips went in, but man, he had so many outs too, though.
A lot of outs. The 4 of
Yeah.
diamonds was coming though. I felt it in my bones. No, a lot of outs. There's a very good chance percentage wise that Brian loses that hand. If he makes that call. So
I'm just gonna throw this out there too, because I know that you're one of the people that would love to do this. Whatever you do, if you decide to fold that right there, don't rabbit hunt. Don't ask for that last card to come out, because it's only gonna make you cry. There is no scenario where you feel good. You know? Yeah. So if you folded, just make sure you made your decision and be good with it no matter what, and don't ask for that last card to be shown.
there is a card out there that I would have felt better if I fold there and the ace of clubs comes out and he's got the nuts. I'm okay folding. It makes me feel better. Everything
Yeah.
else, not so much though, because when the 4 of diamonds rolls out, I'm gonna be pissed. That's good
Yeah.
advice. It's good advice, Joe.
Just that saves the rest of your session for sure. Brian says that this hand stuck with him not because he necessarily made a bad fold, which I don't know that I would call it a bad fold, but because he wondered, did I allow the pot to get too big with just one pair? Was there anything I could have done earlier in the hand to avoid being put into this kind of brutal spot? Did the 3-bet pre-flop create this situation?
Well, it did not create it because that's led into it. The flop didn't help. I mean, both him and I are calling that. I mean, the main difference is folding after the flop when you got check raised, right?
I mean, that was the difference between you and I for sure.
Yeah.
Um,
I
or
don't
the
mind I don't mind the 3-bet pre-flop.
No, the 3 bets, I feel like that is, I won't say mandatory, but that is a spot you should be 3-betting for sure. So that's correct. And I don't think the bet sizing was terrible on the flop. We were a little bit higher. What did I said 60. I think you said 55 and he said 50. So we were all right in that same realm. In hindsight, we probably could have gone bigger, even bigger than I did. Maybe that $80 was a good spot. If nothing else, we get the information we need. If we bet $80 and get raised, we're probably beat, you know?
I agree.
Um,
I don't. Yeah, I agree.
more than anything, calling that raise on the flop is a tough one because it's such a draw heavy board. Even if they're semi bluffing, which they were,
Yeah.
there's still so many cards that kill us on the next 2 streets. And like I said before, that bigger bet's coming if you miss on the turn. So, yeah, I wouldn't say you played this terribly. I don't know that there's a lot of stuff that you could have done differently. Maybe, like I said, that bigger bet, but not poorly played, really. I also enjoy that this so many of the hands of the week that we get are big decisions on the river, and I like that this was a big
Yeah.
decision before that.
Absolutely.
We didn't even make it to the river on this one. So, I'm glad to see mixing that up. So that's fun.
And most likely, whether he likes to believe it or not, but at least the percentages show it. I mean, with that extra club, he probably made a good fold because percentages wise, he probably gets beat there.
That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Brian, thank you so much for sending that in. If anyone has a hand of the week that they would like to know how Patrick and I would play it, send it to podcast@anteupmagazine.com. Patrick, we'll see you when we return from sunny Arizona.
Sounds good, my friend. Safe travels. Enjoy. For anyone else who's out there, you guys have a blast, and we'll catch you next time.
From the flop to the turn, we play it bold, chasing hearts and diamonds, never fold. In the booth, we're dealing stories that gleam. Poker legends rise on the 18.
Sometimes we spend so much time waiting in poker, waiting for good cards, waiting for the right spot, waiting for the perfect moment to make our move. Not this hand, not this situation. I'll wait until I'm more comfortable. Sometimes that can absolutely be the right decision. But sometimes, if we're being honest, it's just fear dressed up as patience. And good players have a way of exposing that. They'll test your strategy. They'll test your willingness to act, to trust yourself, to take a chance, to step into a moment when there are no guarantees. Every player has been there. Stacks getting shorter, blinds getting bigger, that voice in your head getting louder. Just survive. Don't make a mistake. Wait for something better. But the longer you wait, the fewer options you have. And eventually, poker stops asking politely. It forces you to decide. And that's when the game becomes real. Not when you're dealt aces, not when everything is going your way, but when you're uncomfortable, when the pressure is on, when you don't have all the answers and you still have to act. We've actually watched this unfold numerous times here this week at the Ante Up Poker Tour stop in Lone Butte. And it happens in every big tournament. Those are the moments, the ones you've been building toward, whether you realized it or not. Every player who sits down brings something different. Some bring confidence. Some bring experience. Some bring a little bit of both and a whole lot of nerves. But you know what? Everybody brings hope. Hope that this is the run, that this is where it all comes together. But hope doesn't win tournaments. Decisions do. The main event doesn't care about your past results, doesn't care about your bad beats or your heaters or the story you're hoping to write. It only cares about what you do right now. Every hand is a question. Are you going to play scared, or are you going to play like you belong there? Because you do belong there. You've put in the time. You've learned the lessons. You've taken the hits and kept coming back. That seat, it's not an accident. And somewhere in the tournament, there's going to be a moment, one decision, one hand, one spot where everything feels like it's on the line. And those moments are uncomfortable. And it doesn't always go your way. But every once in a while, they do. And when they do, they change everything. Not just your stack, not just your tournament. They change how you see yourself as a player. And when that moment comes, when it would be easier to fold, easier to wait, easier to tell yourself there will be a better spot. Remember, there's no promise of a better spot. There's only this one. Trust yourself, trust your preparation, trust the player you've become. And when that moment comes, take your shot. Because whether you're the first one out or the one holding the trophy at the end, The goal isn't just to play poker. It's to play without regret. Go take your seat, enjoy the moment, embrace the pressure, and when your moment comes, be ready to take it. That's today's one outer, and that's today's show. I'll see you next week, A-Team. And until then, I'll see you at the tables.
The Ante Up Podcast is a production of AnteUpMagazine.com. Contact the show at podcasts@AnteUpMagazine.com or call the show at 540-339-7741. If you'd like to advertise, send an email to editor@AnteUpMagazine.com.